Welcome to Soul Searching Space, a space to remember who you truly are, who you came here to be, and what you came here to do. To be crystal clear, going from black and white thinking to full color HD, working from the inside out, reclaiming your power, waking up to your inherent wholeness, aligning soul, heart, mind, and body. Hello, and thank you for tuning in. We are continuing the conversations of working from the inside out. If you haven't tuned in to the previous episodes in this series, I invite you to listen as it builds on top of each other. We've come a long way, and yet there is no final destination because there is always the next level, the next layer, and it's really about the journey. We are working on layers. We live in an infinite universe with infinite possibilities. Before we dive deeper into timelines, let's remember that in quantum physics, the only moment that exists is now, which means that past, present, and future is all happening now, simultaneously. Quantum physics is not philosophy. Quantum physics is science. What we also know is that in quantum science, we all exist in the field. And in the field, we are all one. We are all connected. You are in a field that is connected to everything, anything, and everyone. We are in a relationship with everything, anything, and anyone. You might remember from the boundary episodes that there are 3 gardens. There's you, garden number 1, and there's, let's say, your relationship to food, garden number 2, and then there is food, garden number 3. So there are 3 components that is occurring within your field and that are interacting all the time and communicating subconsciously and consciously through your behavior, speech, language, and more. The energy your heart carries is different than that of your liver, and all your organs and body systems all carry different energy, and they are all in a relationship with one another. We are all in a relationship with everything, anything, and anyone. How we relate to all of these things, people, situations, circumstances are of course different for each and every one of us. We are the common denominator between us and our relationship with everything. There's the physical reality of what happened, and then there's the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. You have a physical body inside the field, so it's like a field within a field. The field actually directs the matter, not the other way around. So the atom is 99.99999% energy and 0.00001% matter. If your field is not transformed, you will hit the same blockages, upper limits. So you will hit your limits and you won't be able to expand into those new experiences that you want to expand into. If we are not working from the inside out, we are not in alignment with our desires and we are not in the space of receiving. Timelines are the blueprint of information, energy that are linked to the specific event here in this physical reality. The energies of our experiences, we store it as the person, the child that we were at that point in time. So if we are not updating our timelines within our energetic system, we can set an intention, a goal to manifest or create something. But if we don't update the timeline to be in sync with that, then sometimes the manifestations or creations can take longer than expected because the energy in our field can still be running on an old energetic timeline, which is interfering with the energy we want to create and experience. We've got to go into the system and update our timelines through our energetic field. For instance, let's say you want to move to change your circumstances and hope things will get better and you will get a fresh start. And so you move and it seems like a fresh start. But if you are subconsciously running away from something and you are unaware of the energies within you, moving won't really change anything in the physical reality. It will seem different, but it's more of the same because the physical reality is a reflection of the inner reality. So when we move because we want to change our circumstances, we are working from the outside in instead of from the inside out. Yes, we can use our outer reality as a feedback system to what is going on within us and then work from the inside out. I just mentioned something similar like this, but let me just mention this again. Studies from physicists share the fact that our bodies are 0.00001% matter and 99.99999% energy. This is why we work from the inside out. So how can we work from the inside out? So it's really all about the different layers and the different levels. And the first step is always becoming aware. The ego is the gatekeeper to our inner child. Within each of us is a child who is a combination of every age and every phase and state we've been through. So all these states of being make up a group of children, and we refer to them as our inner child. These inner children within us remain the age they are within us. Our job is not to make them grow up and mature, but to become aware of their existence within us and to care for them, to have compassion for them. Whatever they've been through during a specific phase or event in our lives, they carry the energy of the memories, the perceptions, the perspectives, the stories of our childhood at that time. they carry the qualities of a child, so we don't want to get rid of them. We want to embrace them. By becoming aware of the inner child's existence and then consciously responding to its needs, we are healing our past, present, and future simultaneously. When you shift the energies of your timelines, you allow yourself to become a different version of yourself and create the reality you desire. So in the previous episode, we explored the roles that we took on subconsciously. Now let's explore how these energies of our timelines are affecting our reality, our life today. And let's remember that we are all being and doing the best we can with the level of awareness we have, including our parents, our caregivers. I invite you to reflect, are you truly living the life you desire, or are you subconsciously addicted to the emotional chaos and your subconscious trying to right the wrongs of your past by seeking similar dynamics and rewriting history? Which past experiences are having a negative effect in some aspect of your present reality? How is your past impacting your future? How are the past energies impacting your present reality? What are they blocking you from manifesting, creating? When our parents are not present or giving us the attention we need, we will seek it in different ways. We will overachieve to get their attention, or we have complete trouble at completing anything at all. In seeking constant validation and attention, we end up feeling or hiding this incredible depth of lack of self-worth. It's more of the same of not feeling enough and not feeling worthy. I'm not worthy of the person's time, their attention, their presence. You could act out as well in multiple ways to get their attention. The other thing that shows up a lot in these situations is hiding our true feelings and our emotions out of fear and rejection. So it's like you don't want to show the parent how hurt and upset you really are in the little time you have with them, because you are afraid they are going to get angry and upset and reject you. So you will take anything you can get. And this shows up in other relationships and intimate relationships. If you have absent and unavailable parents, fathers, and mothers, you will take anything you can get, and that's how you end up in relationships that are one-sided. That's how you end up settling for less than what you truly desire, thinking, I should just be grateful for what I have. This is how we end up repeating the patterns of our first relationship. Do you notice a pattern of dynamics of timelines affecting your present reality? For the person who grew up in an unstable environment and feels like they are walking on eggshells, the way that we start to translate that as a child is we actually begin to think that we are the source of that. We are the ones to blame for that. So we become addicted to instability and drama because stability, safety, and peacefulness for our nervous system doesn't feel safe because it's unfamiliar. it feels like there is something wrong because it's unfamiliar, it is unsafe. We become addicted to certain ways of being and to certain environments. Instead of being addicted, it becomes normal, it's familiar. So someone with a different upbringing would say, I would never put up with that kind of behavior. To you, it's like you don't even feel like you're putting up with anything because you are like, I thought this was the way it was supposed to be. So there's a normalcy of the instability. Did you experience instability in your childhood? How are the timelines affecting your present timeline, your present reality? Maybe you had a parent who were absent and unavailable, and this of course can show up in multiple ways. Let's say someone was career-driven. If someone is career-driven, they could be career-driven for multiple things. Maybe for them, they grew up with nothing and providing for their family means everything. In their reality, they are not being absent or unavailable. They are being the thing that they never got when they were kids. In their reality, they are doing the right thing, but as a child, you may have interpreted as that you are not valuable, worthy, or important to them, that your feelings, your experience, your life, your presence in their life is not a top priority. And so that really leads to a lack of self-worth, because if you believe that your own parents don't think you're important, this is the first relationship you have, and this is kind of the measurement of relationship and these patterns and how you're going to relate with others from daycare to kindergarten to friends in school and then authorities like teachers and others. The story you might have told yourself is that everything comes before you, so you're kind of last on the list. So as a child, if you felt everyone and everything comes before you, how is it being reflected in your current reality? Are you surrounded by people who don't prioritize you? Like you are always a backup until something quote unquote better comes up? How is it affecting your work life, your relationships, and other areas of your life? Is a timeline replaying itself in your current present reality? A passive impact is that you can't rely on anyone or anything. Your needs are not important, but more specifically, it's the feeling that you are on your own. You don't have anyone really to rely on. And so the impact of being on your own at such a young age can really filter through in defensiveness, really having difficulty of letting people in, taking care of you. You think there is a motivation. You don't trust people. It's very hard because you had to be on your own for so long. You had to be strong. You had to be the strong figure for yourself and for your life. Other people want to contribute to you, but it feels weird. It feels off. It feels like something that's not normal for you. Which timelines are interfering with your present reality? Which timelines do you need to heal? I think that we all respond to the lack of love in different ways, and every aspect of what we may deem negative is usually a response to not being loved enough. As we awaken and become more aware, we realize that we have never truly loved or known ourselves fully. Only by going inwards can we see the perceptions and realize that all that is missing was always within us. By looking at ourselves and doing our own inner soul work, we are releasing our parents of the responsibility of our emotional growth and take responsibility for ourselves. Taking responsibility for ourselves means to address those parts of ourselves that grew up with the false idea that we were not enough, that we were not worthy, valid, or significant. Reparenting involves giving ourselves the tools and skills we didn't receive from our own parents to help us manage our inner world. It involves building an emotional toolkit that can help us remember who we truly are at our core. Are you connected to your inner child, the beautiful little being within you? What does your inner child need to hear? Maybe it's, I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you. You are more than enough just the way you are worthy, your expression is worthy. You know better than me what you wanted to hear and needed to hear. How can you give yourself that? Once we are aware of the many ways our ego plays its game, we can move our focus from the external world to our internal world. We can ask ourselves which wound from our past is being activated and causing us to react the way we are. When we can go beyond the protection our ego provides, we are able to understand why we felt the need for protection in the first place. Usually, we are back to early childhood fears and stories about not being good enough, not feeling loved, validated, seen, accepted. We then realize the ego was only protecting these fears. We begin to have gratitude for it. We can then take responsibility to create the safety within and be the ones we always wanted but never had. We also realize that the task of reparenting ourselves lies within us. Once we have this awareness, healing begins and we start making conscious choices and stay true to ourselves. When we become aware and observe that no matter what happens in the external world, that there are infinite ways to respond, it ultimately frees us to create new neural pathways, collapse timelines, and create new realities. When you know what it feels like to be yourself and you experience what that energy of this feels like in your body and what you feel like when you are thinking and acting as your true nature, your essence, this process can help you recognize when a particular part of you or an aspect of you is running this show. And when you went from being present to running familiar patterns, replaying timelines. The ego loves to be in control, and unless we can spot the ego in action, we will be under its control and won't be able to have a healthy, integrated ego. So before the inner child feels safe with us and opens up, we need to connect with them and build a relationship with them. The more safe they feel with us, the more they will open up and be vulnerable. Maybe you have connected with your inner child before, maybe you haven't. But either way, let's just connect with our inner child before we go further. Are you able to take time for yourself right now? I know it's not always easy for many of us as many things is happening, but if you can, I invite you to go to a space where you will not be disturbed for a few minutes, maybe more. And if you can, get a picture of yourself when you were a little child. If you can't, that's okay too. If it's safe for you to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and center yourself and then connect to the sacred space within you. Connect with the energy of your higher power, whatever you call that energy. The energy field of the highest creator of everything, anything, and anyone, beyond language, beyond form, beyond time and space, beyond comprehension, beyond understanding, beyond thought. Bring in that infinite light. Feel that energy wash over you, grounding you through the earth, feeling centered, connected, and aligned. And then when you feel the energy of calmness, connectedness, I invite you to connect with your inner child. If you have a picture, open your eyes and connect with them. If you don't have a picture, visualize yourself as a child. Reflect on a time when you were a child and you had a lot of fun. What kind of fun did you have when you were a child? What are the things you remember doing as a child that was fun? Can you call forth the timeline of that memory? Can you sense yourself having fun? Can you hear yourself laughing and having fun? Can you laugh with them? Can you join in on the fun? When you feel deeply connected to your inner child, say your name and repeat after me. I love you. I will always love you. I am here for you. I will always be here for you. Whenever you need me, I'm right here. Maybe there's something else you would like to say to your inner child. Let's bring gratitude to yourself and your inner child for being here. Let's bring gratitude to yourself to even be here and aware of your soul journey. Let's bring gratitude to the timelines that have been birthed and created through the versions of you that has led you in your past all the way up until this point in time. Let's bring gratitude for who you have been, who you are, and who you are to become. And if there's anything else you would like to express gratitude for, just go ahead. And whenever you feel ready, gently bring yourself back. How can you lock in this reference point as something you can come back to? As you feel something coming up, maybe you're being triggered or activated because of a situation, can you bring your awareness to the part of you that still believes that it is wounded and that still does need your attention? How can you see it as an opportunity for you to get curious and dive inwards instead of focusing on the outer world? I know it's not always possible to go within, but are you able to connect briefly with your inner child and let them know that you hear them, see them, feel them, appreciate them, that it is safe for them to be with you and that you are holding them in your awareness and that you will connect with them as soon as possible? To acknowledge the inner child helps to neutralize any intensity and shifts the energy so that a more balanced self can enter the space you are holding for them? How can you allow the energies to move within you? How can you work from the inside out? Maybe you have time to go deeper when it happens. Sometimes we don't. And if you don't, are you able to let them know when you will be able to be with them and honor that? If you have time to connect with your inner child, are you able to say in a way that feels true for you, "Hi, how are you? How old are you? What do you need? How can I support you? You are truly important to me. I am here for you whenever you need me." And listen to what they have to say. Can you create that space for yourself? Can you give yourself the experience of authentic listening? How can you embody curiosity and witness your own self, your own response, your own growth? How can you practice being grounded as your higher self? How can you become aware of your own inner longings, desires, and old wounds? How can you question how your childhood and life experiences impacts the way you show up in the world? How can you become aware of which part of you is seeking attention right now? How can you peel the layers of your false self? How can you ask, why am I reacting this way? What do I truly feel in this moment, and how can I express this inner truth? How can you embrace the energies that are appropriate for the given situation? How can you ask yourself, what do I need right now, and what can I offer myself right now? By doing this, we activate our own inner resources to heal what was left wounded back then. How can you ask yourself, what is this really about? How can I support you and help you get your needs met? What all memories being triggered right now to make you feel this way? What story are you replaying right now? When we hold loving space for our inner child and connect with them and have a dialogue with them, they feel seen and they feel a sense of belonging and worth. This part of us feels heard and understood, which results in immediate insight and relief. Rather than blindly acting out through an emotional reaction, this inner dialogue allows time to pause and reflect and choosing how we want to respond. In this way, our old wounds now get a chance to heal. How can you hold the space of love from your higher self to the fear of your lower self? What opens up for you when you observe from that space of love? How can you bring awareness to why you are not comfortable with what you are experiencing? What's there for you to uncover about not being comfortable with that? How can you choose to continue to learn from your life, your experiences, your events, your circumstances, your relationships, and grow in response to what you discover about yourself, in response to what they are helping you to remember about yourself? How can you take everyday experiences and turning them into opportunities to see yourself and others in a whole new light? As we learn to see ourselves in a new light, we see others in a new light as well. How can you embrace your own uniqueness, your playfulness, your joy, your sense of humor and fun? Just by holding this inner child of yours, we are soothing our emotions and we begin to feel at ease. When we embrace our emotions with mindfulness and presence, we'll be able to see the timelines and the roots of these mental movies we've been projecting. We will understand where our suffering came from and we can bring healing to the wound. Which relaxation practices will help you put your body in a safe emotional space to authentically hold loving space for your inner child? What they experienced and what they need right now. How can you build trust between your inner child and yourself by making and keeping small promises to yourself every day? How can you become aware of what your inner child needs to hear? How can they be specific to the situation? How can you remember that your parents, your caregivers did the best with their own internal emotional wounds? How can you grieve and do the internal soul work of healing your wounds? How can you check in with your inner child, the parts of you that are most active, and then ask them what they need to hear and what they need from you right now, and how you can best support them? By continually asking, what do I need right now? What can I offer myself right now? We activate our inner resources to heal what was left wounded back then. Whatever happens, please remember to be kind to yourself. You are learning new ways of being. We are unlearning and relearning. So the more you practice, the more progress you will make. Awareness is always the first step. We experience awareness when we recognize as self as part of who we are, not all of who we are. Once we are aware and we start making conscious choices, healing begins and we can create the life we desire. How can you be present with the timelines that are currently running within your system? You may see timelines. They may be showing up in certain ways for you. Can you connect with these? How can you collapse all timelines that are now outdated, that were linked to your previous version of you that you were operating from? Notice what feels different when you tune into your timelines after connecting with your inner child. What feels different? We are conditioned always to look for what's the same, but if you start programming yourself to notice what's different, what you focus on expands, and you are going to expand into the changes that you are activating through the awareness you have. When we step into our personal power, a power that realizes that no matter what is going on in our outer world, there are infinite ways to respond. these choices frees us and liberates us to create new timelines and new realities. Did something resonate with you? Who are you going to be and what are you going to do about it? Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for your time and thank you for your presence. I look forward to being with you again. I am sending you so much love, and until next time, may you remember that you have been living an idea of who you think you are versus the truth of who you are.